anyị na Chineke nna nke pụrụ ihe niile onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-azọpụta onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na n'ụtụtụ na ịja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi ise ise ise.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are joining from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. If you are joining me from Africa, Asia, Europe, America, Australia, or any part of the world, I thank you very much for your contribution. Please, each time you watch my video, go to the comment section and put down your comments. That is
Welcome back. Well, now we, as you've seen there, we're joined by Isa Yuguda, CEO and former governor of Bauchi State, former minister of aviation, among several titles. Good morning. Thank you for coming on the program today, sir.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning.
Well,
madam.
You've been there, two-time governor, different experience in different parties, in the ministry, and then so you've seen things from a certain perspective. But given the way things are playing out to the country, I mean, we've seen some members in the National Assembly to the extent that they feel that they should go ahead and impeach the president. One wonders how the party sees some of this. Or perhaps you could give us your impression of, given what is playing itself out, are you happy with the way things are going on?
Well, in the first instance, we know that running a government by leaders is not an easy task. And in fact, any management environment you are confronted with, you are there to solve problems. That's why you are called a manager or a CEO, whatever it is. But so far, you can assess governments as the move ahead in rendering services to the electorate. So far, I can say Mr. President has done his best, and everybody's best is different. So I can say the President has done his best. And of course, you can see also other actors that he has appointed to assist him drive, managing the country, also doing their best. And it all depends on somebody's assessments. So as far as I'm concerned, the President has done his best.
But if we look at the figures out there, right from the unemployment rates, the highest in a very long time. We've seen rising inflation. The reports indicate that over 170%, the highest in a decade. We've seen the challenges we've got with security, the kidnappings, the corruption reports across the board. And certainly these figures, they don't flatter him in any way. They paint a very grim picture. That tantamount to saying, look, his best is not good enough from the figures we've seen.
Well, if we look at the figures, certainly one will say, okay, they appear to be a little bit, depressing. Because,
a little bit?
Well, a little bit depressing. Because...
some people will disagree, and they think they're very depressing.
Well, you see, it all depends on somebody who is interpreting figures. Figures might be wrong, might be right, and figures might be wrong. But it all depends on their source, their credibility, who is talking about the figures. Because, generally in politics, people use all kind of, means, to attack their opponents, especially when it comes to some things like this. But like I said, it can be depressing if I am to interpret the figures that I see. But I must say that for any rational human being, rational person, rational Nigerian, who knows Nigeria, the Nigerian economy, and he knows where we are coming from, you can appreciate that it couldn't have been any better. no matter who was there on the driving seat, because most of these things that are happening to us are historical. If you are coming from an environment where the foundation has been, distorted, then what you reap is what you sow.
Well, what sort of issues would you say are historical?
Well, if you look at security, for instance, it's a historical thing. It was not, didn't start with Buhari's government. It started when we were in government. And this is way back in 2008, 2009, because I was a governor then when we were challenged with Boko Haram in Bauchi. And I know the problem and the challenges we faced. And apart from Bauchi, all the other northeastern states were the only state that were able to address the problem with speed, accuracy. And since then, at least we've been able to nip that challenge in the bud. And apart from that, combined with the Boko Haram issue, we had kidnappings, we have cattle rustling, we have religious crisis. That crisis they call religious crisis, when I personally believe that there is no religious crisis in the country. So, this thing has continued unabated. And I always believe that these challenges, especially security challenges, cannot be associated to the president.
Why not? Because, I mean, even if you look at presently and the approach of governments, and it's all out there for everybody to see, we've seen how this same government approached the Sunday Igboho matter, those who were the dissidents, quote unquote. We've seen how this same government approached the IPOB matter. And then we've seen how they approached this particular insurgents, as it were. So many are of the opinion, quite a number of people, we hear time and again, that it appears as though the government is handling them with kid gloves.
Well, you see, as from my own experience as a governor, and I would do apology to our serving governors or past governors that were not able to manage their security challenges in their states. I must say, security issues are the babies of governors, not Mr. President. Yes, he's the overall quite all right. But if you see anything going wrong as far as security is concerned, insecurity is concerned, you hold the governor responsible. You are sworn in to protect life and property.
For terrorism cases, we hold the governor responsible?
Of course, why not?
How?
Because you own the land. President does not have land. President does not give COs of states. And you don't expect the president to go and secure your land.
So doesn't he have a responsibility to call the governors involved, who state there have been challenges, to work with them to see how those problems can be resolved?
Yes, ma'am. It is not the president that will call them. It is them that will call the president. I'm talking from the background of experience. If you don't cry, nobody will hear you. And if you have a problem and you don't cry, until when the problem comes and lands on you, then you start crying.
We've seen a lot of governors.
Let me give you an example.
We've seen a lot of governors parade the villa. Sorry to interrupt you. In terms of trying to seek the president's support.
Because they have allowed things to deteriorate. Like I said, each governor has a brigade commander. Each governor has a commissioner of police. Each governor has a director of SSS. They have civil defense commandants and other paramilitaries directly dealing with the security of the state. And every week, you sit on, you discuss every Mondays, as in my own case, you discuss security-related issues. And mind you, they are represented in all the local governments, all these security agents I'm talking about. Why don't you? The SS are there to preempt. They preempt happenings of events. They preempt everything that you see that is dangerous to society. They tell you in advance this is what's going to happen. So if you don't act, that is where your problem is. After all, you've been sworn in, and the only covenant you take at the time of taking an oath with the Bible or the Quran is, I will protect life and property and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Period. Any other thing is a promise. I promised to build roads, I promised to build schools, I promised to do this and do that. But the only covenant agreement you sign with the Almighty Creator is protecting life. So
which is the same agreement the president signs.
Well, what I'm saying is that you should understand the president does not have land per se. Because do you expect him to come and protect your house for you? When you know how to, the security of...
Are you exonerating the president? Are you saying...
I'm not exonerating you as such. Because when it is happening, probably when it happens, I mean, that person, the governor down there who is sitting there, should be queried. Why did you allow things to deteriorate? When all the resources, if you deploy all the resources of government security alone, and everybody sleeps with his two eyes closed, you are a very good governor, a good manager. But most of our people with people are there building roads, building bridges, building that. When there is mayhem everywhere in the
when you were governor, were you able to give direct orders to the commissioners of police and they carried it out without us having to ask or confirm from the Inspector General of Police?
It's not a question of them. It's you. You are the chief security officer.
Yeah, I mean...
So if you are the chief security officer, you relate with the IG, you relate with this. The only formation that you will not directly work with and give opinion on is the army, because it's only the army that the president is commander-in-chief. So anytime you require the army, you call the president, Mr. President, I have a challenge and it's emergency. We won't allow, hoodlums, criminals to fire the first bullet. We need to fire the first bullet. Therefore, I need so. I've already done my planning, and of course, we are going out to the field now to execute. So, Mr. President, we need your support to use your army. He will give it to you. We have done it before.
Okay, even though the Niger State governor says he's called out several times and no response whatsoever came through to him.
That is another thing altogether. The governor would have seen to have done his job. Then it is where you start blaming maybe Mr. President. But I don't know. Okay. But this is how you get your things done as a manager matters a lot. Because it's not the reason to say that, okay, I have tried my best, moved the information across, and there is no response. Okay. If I were in a position where I am challenged, I would even walk on foot to Abuja, let them know that I have a challenge, and I'll go and knock on the door of the president. Mr. President, look, we are joking with this thing. If we allow this thing the next 5 minutes, sorry, we are going to have a crisis in our hand that we cannot control.
All right, we have a member of the House of Reps who had walked on foot about a certain matter, and nothing has, he's not getting the kind of result he wants, but our colleagues in Lagos have some questions for you, so let's bring them in. Go ahead, guys.
Chamberlain, well, sir, speaking to the issue raised about the governors doing the needful because they own the lands, in their states, there have been questions around what the locals can do themselves, since, as we say, security is everybody's business. We've spoken with a number of security agencies, representatives and security consultants who say that the first line of defense in the first place has been broken, and that is the local government system. And that they even have security councils in the various local government offices, that they have meetings with traditional rulers and all those things. But now, with the local governments not being autonomous, and most of them, as some believe, the apron string, that they're tied to the apron strings of the governors, it'll seem like there is nothing that can be done unless we have an active local government system in place. From your experiences, Governor, how much of a downer is that?
Well, that is a fact. The fact that these issues have not been resolved. Now, let's believe that without the involvement of traditional institutions, without involvement of, our local communities, security challenges will continue going on, and the challenges will remain there for a very long time. To the extent that the National Assembly is involved, because at least they have not been able to move fast to make amendments to these laws that will support, addressing the problems of insecurity. They are also part of those to blame, not Mr. President. So it's more like an issue that it's a system failure where people refuse to do their job or take their job seriously, and we find ourselves where we are today. So if we are able to, engage our royal fathers at traditional institutions, because I recall only recently in the Southwest, there is one character who was, trying to create problems in the Southwest. His name is John or somebody, I cannot remember the name precisely. I think the royal fathers and their community leaders, they called him to order. And given that the the southwest part of our country is a very traditional environment, I mean, they called him to order, and he listened to them with maybe very little government interference.
Yes.
And it can happen in several other parts of the country where traditional institutions are respected, but they are not involved.
Yeah, but Your Excellency,
So
the challenge there...
Look at this law we have.
Yeah, my apologies. The point here now is that from information available, I mean, the local government autonomy bills is going through the states. And 2 states have said no. 10 out of 12 have said yes. And there are fears, according to newspaper reports that we have this morning on the front pages, that 14 other state governments are likely to say no to the autonomy of the local government system, of the local government, financial or administrative. With that, what kind of appeal would you want to make to the governors or even the state houses of assembly? Because unless that is done, I don't see, from what you have also said now, how we can deal with insecurity decisively.
Well, I think the governors should know that governor come, governor go. You are not there permanently. The interest of the nation is what you place before you. And I expect that our respected governors should take this into account and understand that anything short of doing what the system has agreed to do, because a collective decision that this is the direction we are going. And of course, because of your personal self-interest, I mean, you should not be able to, override the interests of the nation. Because we know this bill has been on since we were governors, and today is almost 8 years now since I left as governor. And I cannot see any reason why this bill has not been passed. And of course, the law has been enacted so that we can continue perfecting our systems. And of course, if we don't move forward, if we dance within the same cycle every now and then, I think the motion without movement to this dear country is not helping us. And that's why we see so many things going backwards and backwards and backwards. And also, I must say that I say to an extent, people are lawless. Nobody wants to comply with the law. Everybody is a lawbreaker. So, and there are no sanctions, serious sanctions attached to law breaking. So these are the sort of things. And sometimes even the governors just wake up and, come up with a law that is in conflict or contradicts what the Constitution is saying. And the National Assembly is there, they are keeping quiet, and even part of the executive, they will say, okay, they keep quiet. When they know precisely. Come again? Of course, I can remember the anti-grazing law in Benue.
No, but it went through the State Assembly. The State Assembly enacted the law. So
but you cannot contradict what the Constitution provides. Because to the extent that everybody has a right, you have the right to stay anywhere in this country. You have the right to go and practice your profession in any part of the country.
But not encroaching on other people's property.
Encroaching? Why are you a government? Why do you have security agencies? And why do you have law? Why do you have the prisons? Why do you have this thing? If somebody commits an offense, he cannot be prosecuted. Prosecute them. But you can't say you should leave an environment because then you are not able to manage them. So you can't deny the rights of Nigerians by constitutional right, and you say you are, because some people are...
Many more states have gone on to enact anti-grazing laws.
Yes,
but why is it that the one of Benue is the one that keeps standing out?
I say it is wrong.
The anti-grazing laws of all the states are wrong?
As far as I'm concerned, it's wrong. Because somebody is committing an offense and you are asking him to leave a state. Is it above the law?
No, I don't think
no,
the law
that's not
asked
what
them
the law
to leave.
says. The law did not say they should leave the state. The law says they should get land for ranching.
They should leave. Do they have the land?
Have you seen the law?
Did they give them the land? I'm sorry, madam, they said that they don't give them the land. We'll be sitting here, they will tell you stories. We politicians are terrible in this country. We mislead the public. How can somebody who has no land, landless, and you say, okay, go and create a ranch? Do you know how much it will cost to cost a ranch? And do you know how much it will cost if somebody has maybe 20, 30, 40 herds? He can sell the whole of them, and yet he cannot acquire grazing land. So we have to approach things pragmatically and reality. A situation where we break the law, we walk free. Somebody will, breach the law, and you say, I'm going to catch him and punish him.
So, Your Excellency, are you saying that, or perhaps I should ask it this way, how should a situation be dealt with now where, a herder encroaches on the land of a farmer, which is clearly a breach, of the right of the farmer to own or to control his land? If the anti-grazing law is not right to address it, how should it then be addressed?
Well, you have to know one thing. From what we have in history, the herdsmen on independence, or not independence, when Lord Lugard finished conquering northern Nigeria, and he set up his administration in Lokoja, moved to Zungeru, and eventually to Kaduna, by 1907. The only group that are taxed were the cattle herders. That is what they call jangali. And it is with the jangali that, government projects and programs were implemented. The balance of capital budget was sent by the King of England. Before we had the groundnut peerages, the cocos, and the what have you, is there. For those who care to read, let them go to the federal government gazettes on the office of the SGF. They are there for people to read. So if today the same people whose resources were used in managing Nigeria, the same people, only you wake up in the morning and you say, there is this anti-grazing. The same people with the Niger Delta today, they are the ones that we are using their resources to manage Nigeria, just like the herdsman's money started managing Nigeria. So it's only today, after how many years, close to over 100 years, you wake up and you say, okay, I want to do anti-grazing. All these years, what have you been doing? You are not aware that population is growing, that land is going to be, competed between farmers and herders, and population growth is going to balloon to cover the entire environment. And these people who are involved in transhumance. From Maiduguri to Oturko, you have cattle routes. Along those cattle routes, you have clinics, you have watering points, you have, veterinary centers, and so on and so forth. And, of course, the entire Abuja here was a grazing area. This is why the entire northern cattle system, they come here for their transhumance during the dry season. They graze here and go back during the rainy season.
Your Excellency, you haven't quite answered the question, but if you have acknowledged indeed that there's population explosion and so many current realities, causing such socioeconomic challenges, what then is the cost to life more or less than what we now see of cattle herders, even on the highways? We've seen them a lot in the federal capital and in many states, not just in the north now, across the south.
Yes, thank you, madam. And I want to believe that the previous governments, were they sleeping when they didn't envisage this problem? The animal husbandry, I think, is one of the most neglected sectors of Nigeria, one economic institution that is neglected by government. You can't leave people wandering up and down when you know that in due course this problem is going to be there. Why didn't you take care of it? When the white man was constructing the cattle routes and grazing reserves, he called them Ruga, and this Ruga is rural grazing area. He knew what he was doing. He had a veterinary research center in Vom. He knew what he was doing. And of course, we had expected that with time, these transhumans, should have been addressed by government and say, hey, you cannot improve on the quality of your beef, you cannot improve on the quality of your milk and then the quantity of your milk. If you continue going up and down, you have to keep these animals in one place and cross them with better breeds from different parts of the world so that we can have an economy. One cow is a big economy. There is nothing to waste in a cow. The meat itself is just about 1% or 10% of the entire value of a cow. So you see, we are using a lot of sentiments in driving this issue of cattle.
Okay. Well,
so the fault is the fault of the government. It's not their own fault.
Okay, but you know, one of your interviews, you said that you worked with governors, your two-term while you were there. You understand their mentality and their mindset, and that the governors are not development-driven.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Yes. If a governor is educated enough to know that today Nigeria does not import beef, everything we eat here locally is from the cow, then something must be in the cow.
Well, are you speaking concerning the cow or generally?
No, I'm just giving you an example. Okay. If you domesticate maybe somebody who has maybe a herd of about 100, you come and intervene in terms of providing all the the means of improving the quality of life of the animal. Like I said, it will produce more meat, it will produce more milk, and it's a huge economy. You will employ veterinarians, the veterinary doctors, clinic attendants, and so on and so forth. You'll have a milk produced to sell to the public, and of course you will engage more. A herd of about 100 can engage almost about 10, 20 professionals, and of course it's another economy starting altogether, and they don't have to roam away. So you have international best practice in the cattle ranching and keeping them together. But we here in Nigeria, now, why do you expect somebody who is landless now to go and create a ranch?
You know,
so the governors should look at, they should be development driven. They should look at how to move forward from where we are today and to where we are going. You don't chase somebody away and you imagine that you are solving his problem.
When you say the governors are not development-driven, then you highlight how a lot of responsibility is on their shoulders. We'll be going towards general election. There'll be elections soon across board. Today, there are several reports as to how lots of people are leaving the banking sector, which you were a former MD of, in droves because they feel the economy is not conducive for them. Lots of young people leaving the country. Do you think some of these narratives you've given, will the people buy it? Because many of them feel that they will just go out there and vote your party out.
Well, it's a mistake. Any person who is looking at it from that angle, I think he's making a mistake. We have a government policy, and these policies are fantastic. And governments and then the political will to enforce these, rules and regulations and incentives packages given to investors, and that is why we have a problem, because some of these things are not like we have, security for instance. An investor will not come into an environment where there is insecurity. So, but who is there to enforce to make sure that people obey the law? We have the police, we have the civil defense, we have other things.
The president is in charge of all of it. The buck stops at his table.
Well, it does quite all right. But no matter what the president does, if there is a culture of corruption with impunity, before you dismantle that culture, it's a Herculean task, and it's an inherited, it's a problem, and it is getting worse, whether we like it or not. Nigeria has not come to terms with the reality that corruption is killing us, and it will kill us finally. Everybody is corrupt, I'm afraid.
So that means, isn't that saying that this government has failed to address it?
The government has not failed because they also...
You said everybody is corrupt because that was their mantra, key mantra, to address that.
That is what was inherited.
But if that's why they were voted into power.
I was part of previous governments, and I've seen the corruptions.
Yeah, but this government said we were going to address it headlong.
Well,
that's the narrative.
They came with that intention, And we don't know the kind of road, landmines that were placed on their way to be disabled. So if they failed in addressing it, is a question of we tried and we failed. But corruption in Nigeria, I am assuring you, is the problem. And if we don't address it, it will end up ending Nigeria.
Well, in the days ahead, we'll have a larger session, so that we'll look at more issues, but I'm afraid right now...
We are very positive that the APC government of Asiwaju will address the problem.
You're assuming that he is going to win already?
Of course, I'm not assuming. I'm very positive. Because if Nigerians are wise, if you are there to appraise somebody based on performance, among all the candidates you have, he's the only person that has something to show for. Do you know Lagos today is a medium-income economy? It's no longer part of the Nigerian economy. Who made it possible? Is it not Tinubu? Or are you going to deny him the credit of having set up structures? And one very, very important...
There's been 2-3 governors after him.
But he set the foundation. If you lay a foundation, and all those governors are his boys, he has the capacity to hunt.
Oh.
So, so when it comes to management, I've been a manager since a very young boy at the age of 20-something. And I continued managing until when I was almost getting to 58. That is when I left as a governor. So, and I know what management is all about. If you cannot manage your human resources effectively and deploy them to achieve objectives, you are not a manager. All right.
We have to thank you for coming on. Isa Yuguda is a former governor of Bauchi State, former Minister of Aviation. He is the chairman, board of trustees of APC Professionals Forum. Thank you for coming on today.
And you haven't asked me about the professional forum. You took me on some questions.
But not to worry. That's why we'll have another session with you in the days ahead.
I thought I was here to talk about...
be available as well to do.
Yes, I thought I was here to talk about...
Yeah, well, it turns out that this current issue is just because...
Dominated your...
Absolutely. So, but not to worry, we'll have you back and look at some of these issues.
Thank you, madam.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming on, sir.
We're back in a moment.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.